Sara Blakely, the woman who turned pain into an empire. She was born on February 27, 1971, in Clearwater, Florida, a beach town that looked like paradise on the outside. But if you didn't come from money, a big name, or some kind of legacy, it was hard to break out of the ordinary. Sara was the daughter of a lawyer and an artist. Her home was full of love, yes, but also full of limits. Her dad was strict and determined, her mom sensitive and creative. They gave her what they could. But even as a child, Sara saw what most kids don't. No one's coming to save you. School was never her thing. She wasn't the best student, not the prettiest, not the most popular, just that girl people overlooked, underestimated by some, ignored by others. But in silence, Sara watched. She absorbed everything. And deep down, she planted a belief that would one day change everything. Never settle for less than what you know you deserve. Her dad had a strange habit, one she didn't understand until years later. Every night at dinner, he'd ask, "So, what did you fail at today?" And he'd celebrate their answers, even the flops. To him, failure wasn't something to fear. Failure was a badge of courage. But the world outside didn't share that mindset. Sara learned the hard way when she lost her father, watched her family fall apart after a brutal divorce, and realized the life she knew was slipping through her fingers. Welcome to adulthood. When the ground disappears, you find out who you really are. She tried to follow the safe path, majored in communications at Florida State University, dreaming of becoming a lawyer. But the universe had other plans. She failed the LSAT not once, but twice. Most people would have taken that as a sign to quit. Sara took it as the starting line. With no clear future and bills to pay, she took a job most would consider humiliating. Door-to-door fax machine sales. Yeah, door-to-door. The kind of job where you face rejection dozens of times a day. Doors slammed in your face. People looking at you like you're invisible, walking for miles under the scorching Florida sun, in high heels, dragging a heavy demo bag. Each no hurt. Each dismissive stare chipped at her self-worth. But she kept going, because deep down, she knew. This wasn't her destination. It was her training ground. And it was right there, in the middle of burnout and heartbreak, that something began to stir. Sometimes, life whispers its biggest answers when you're too tired to even ask the question. And for Sara, that whisper came from something small, almost silly, but it carried the weight of a revolution. One morning, exhausted and getting dressed for another long day, she threw on a pair of white pants. Once again, underwear lines. Again, tights rolling, squeezing, annoying her to death. And that's when she did something weird, something that would change her life forever. She grabbed a pair of pantyhose and cut the feet off, slipped them on under her pants. Then she looked in the mirror. Boom. Everything changed. Her outfit looked smoother. Her body felt more sculpted. The underwear lines disappeared. For the first time, she felt comfortable and confident in her own skin. What seemed like a silly hack was actually the birth of a billion-dollar idea. She just didn't know it yet. In the days that followed, she couldn't stop thinking about it. She started noticing the fashion industry around her, the shapewear, the underwear, the products in every store. And she saw a brutal truth. All these clothes for women were being designed by men who didn't get it, and frankly, didn't care. That's when a voice inside her spoke loud and clear, "If no one else is gonna fix this, I will." But let's be real. Having a great idea is the easy part. Bringing that idea to life, that's war. And at that time, Sara had absolutely nothing. No money, no experience, no connections, no investors, no fancy background, not even a single person who believed in her. Still, she did the unthinkable. She took the $5,000 she had saved selling fax machines, every last cent, and bet it all on this crazy idea. No plan B, no backup, no safety net. If it failed, she'd lose everything. First challenge? Finding a factory to make the product. She spent weeks calling, driving, begging manufacturers across North Carolina. The answer was always the same. "This is dumb. No one wants this. Who do you think you are?" She got rejection after rejection. Doors slammed. People laughed. And every time someone said no, that voice, you know the one, the cruel little voice we all carry, whispered, "You're not good enough. You'll never pull this off." But here's the thing most people still don't get. You should never underestimate someone who's been rejected their whole life, because rejection, it doesn't break them, it builds them. Sara didn't back down. She called over 80 factories before finally, one said yes. Why? Because the owner mentioned her idea to his teenage daughters. And for the first time, someone responded, "Dad, that's actually genius." Boom, she had a factory, she had a product, but that was just the beginning of the real battle. How do you get the world to care? With her first batch of products ready, Sara now faced a terrifying new gap. How do you get anyone to notice you? She was just one woman. No experience in fashion, no connections, and definitely no money for ads. While big brands threw millions into marketing, fashion shows, and billboards, Sara had only her voice, her belief in the product, and a reckless level of courage. So she did what she knew how to do best: sell. But this time, it wasn't fax machines. It was her own invention. She knocked on the doors of the biggest department stores in America. And of course, the first answer she got? No. But Sara understood something that would change everything. If you want people to listen, you have to do what no one else is willing to do. During a meeting with a buyer from the ultra-powerful Neiman Marcus, Sara realized words weren't going to cut it. The woman across the table just didn't get it. So Sara did something completely out of the rule book. She asked the executive to follow her to the bathroom. And there, in the middle of the store restroom, Sara pulled up her pants, showed the before and after using her prototype, and just like that, boom. The buyer was speechless. The difference was immediate, unignorable. And in that moment, standing under fluorescent lights next to a row of sinks, Sara landed her first retail deal. Spanx, which had existed only in her imagination, was now on the shelves of Neiman Marcus. What felt like a miracle was really just the first step. Soon, more stores followed: Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom, and then Target. The product no one wanted to manufacture, that no one believed in, was now in high demand. And then, like the universe finally decided to pay her back for every door slammed in her face, Oprah happened. Oprah Winfrey, the most powerful woman on American TV, named Spanx one of her favorite things of the year. It wasn't just a shout-out, it was a tsunami. When Oprah pointed to something, shelves got cleared out within hours. And that's exactly what happened. Phones rang off the hook. Stores begged for more inventory. Women were hunting Spanx like gold. In just a few weeks, the woman who had been begging someone to listen was now running a product that had become a global phenomenon. From the outside, everything looked perfect. But on the inside, it was a battlefield. Because with success came enemies. Competitors popped up overnight, copying her designs shamelessly, lawsuits, accusations, threats. The fashion world, run by men in suits, looked at her with disgust. How dare she? A woman with no pedigree, no Ivy League name, no famous last name, break the rules and win? The pressure was crushing, and what nobody saw was Sara going home, locking the door and falling apart, crying, panicking, doubting. Am I gonna lose everything? Can I survive this? Am I strong enough? Because success didn't come with just applause. It came with isolation, nightmares, a mountain of responsibility she had to carry alone, employees, contracts worth millions, global demand, and it all sat on the back of one woman. But like she'd done her whole life, Sara didn't break. She took every punch, every rumor, every attempt to bring her down, and used it as fuel. While her competitors laughed in boardrooms, she was back in the factory, tweaking fabrics, testing new shapes, inventing the next thing. Because that's the thing, Spanx was never just one product. It was the beginning of a revolution. From pantyhose came shapewear. From shapewear came bodysuits, shorts, Brasilia leggings, activewear, dresses, and eventually a men's line too. But every piece came with the same promise: comfort, confidence, freedom. Because in Sara's world, no woman should have to suffer to feel beautiful. No one should be trapped in clothes designed by people who never had to wear them. Spanx exploded, sold in hundreds of stores, online sales through the roof, over 65 countries. And while the world saw red carpets and magazine covers, the fight never stopped. Banks still doubted her. Investors still tried to undervalue her. The industry still hoped she'd fail. But they all forgot one thing. Sara had grown up in discomfort. She was forged in failure, trained by rejection. They were messing with someone who had already lost it all once and learned how to survive anyway. If this story lit a fire in you, imagine what's coming next. Smash that subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss the next story, drop a like if this inspired you, and tell us in the comments, what's your Spanx moment? That wild idea no one believed in, but you're still holding on to? Because maybe, just maybe, the world isn't ready yet, but you are.